Morning everybody. I've just been on Instagram doing a live video, so now I thought I'd come on Twitter and do one too. This is Tyson Fury in association with MTK Global. I'm here in Morecambe with the old boy Ben Davison, and we're here today to talk boxing while we're training, to pass on a little bit of time. Everybody from Cork, big up yourself. I think we're here to talk heavyweights today because they're always a good start of a Thursday morning. Ben's going to do the question and I'm going to do the answering. Make sure you get me in the video though, Ben, yeah? Yes, go on then, Benjamin.
Right. If you could have fought any heavyweight of any era, who would you like to have boxed?
I would have liked to have boxed. That's a tough one. I'd like to have boxed Muhammad Ali, purely for the fact, just to say that I shared the same ring as the greatest of all times. I probably wouldn't have even hit him back. Probably just let him say about me. That'd have been my claim to fame.
Okay. Who would have been, barring yourself, the heavyweight fight you'd like to have seen between two other heavyweights of all time, any time?
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen. A lot of people say Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, but I think we've already seen that fight a couple of times with Frazier and Ali. Pretty similar. I would have liked to have seen Joe Louis versus Lennox Lewis. That would have been a tough fight.
Interesting.
One a native of Detroit and one found a home in Detroit.
What about, barring yourself, an all-British heavyweight clash that you'd like to have seen of all time?
I think the heavyweights, you mean?
Yep.
I think we saw it, didn't we, Bruno and Lewis? Of that era, of the 90s and the 80s, everyone fought each other, didn't they? Like,
yeah.
Lewis, Herbie Hyde, Frank Bruno, Henry Akamwandi. They were 4 world champions at the same time, really, relatively around the same time. And they all fought in high class. People like to say things about Herbie Hyde, the dancing destroyer, but Herbie Hyde actually went over to America and fought Big Daddy Bo. And Big Daddy Bo was one of the best heavyweights of all time, in my opinion. And I think the fight I would have liked to have seen throughout any heavyweights in history would have been Big Daddy Bo versus Lennox the Lionheart Lewis.
Yeah, shame that never happened.
It's a shame that never happened. And let's just hope and pray that it doesn't happen with me and AJ. So, because it'd be a travesty if it did.
So of all the heavyweights ever been, who would have gave you your toughest fight?
I don't know, any of them really. Any of them. You can't really tell until you're in front of them, but any of them would have given me a tough time, because as everybody knows, I'm not that good. I just got lucky a few times, that's all. Any more questions, Benjamin?
See what the public got to ask.
All right. What are you saying?
Would you have fought Mike Tyson in his prime?
Yes, I would have done, but I got knocked out in the first round. Very sharp. Any more?
Best Irish heavyweight of all time?
Myself.
Barring yourself.
The first Irish heavyweight champion of the world. Me, Tyson Fury. And behind me, John L. Sullivan, Jack Dempsey, Jack Doyle. It's got a couple. Martin Rogan.
How would Tyson have done against Rocky Marciano?
Which Tyson?
Mike Tyson.
I don't know. You can't match different fighters from different eras. Very, very supreme fighters of the day. Very supreme fighters in their cloth. And Mike Tyson wasn't cut from the same cloth as Rocky Marciano. You can only fight for people of your era, and that is it. The likes of Klitschko and Joshua and Wilder and Parker, they're from my cloth, and I'm going to conquer all of those. Like Mike Tyson said, they're no Alexanders, I'm Alexander.
So we all know about Tyson's public mental health and all the rest of it he's done. Would you be interested in managing young fighters once you've finally finished your career? Is that something you'd like to do, manage young fighters and put them on the straight,
yeah,
and make sure they get managed well?
I would like to manage young fighters when I'm finished. Who knows? I could set up an MTK Morecambe management company. Be a branch off to MTK, who knows? Would be good.
Is there any young prospects in boxing that you look at now and you're excited to see if they fulfil their potential?
Fulfilling potential is a very hard thing to do because you need the right people behind you, you need the right money pumped into you, and you need the right fights. You need to be kept active. So sometimes these young fighters, and even old fighters, they never get the chances that they deserve because of, for whatever reason, inactivity is the worstest thing that can ever happen to anybody. I was speaking to Jerry Cooney, and he said before the Holmes fight, he was out the ring for 18 months, he had one fight, and that's why he lost the fight. So inactivity is the worstest thing that can happen. Myself, I've been out the ring though over 2.5 years, and it's not been a good point in my life. And I know a special little featherweight called Isaac Lowe, and he can really fight, but he's being kept inactive with only 2 fights in 2 years, or 3 fights in 2 years, and it's no good. You've got to eat, sleep, train, repeat, and rely on other people to do the right things for you. You can't go to work and then be a full-time professional because you're not really getting the 100% benefits that you should. I think young fighters need sponsorship, management guidance, they need advice, they need keeping them on the straight and narrow, and purely the fact they need to keep motivated on what they're doing rather than just going through the motions. It's a desire as well deep down inside one that has to be burning heavy and hard, because if it's not burning and the desire's not there to achieve your dreams, then I don't think you'll ever achieve anything that you want to, because nobody in life is going to give you something. Everything that's good comes at a price. Whatever you want in life, you've got to work hard for, and there's no limitations really. If a child wants to be a doctor, a policeman, a lawyer, a scientist, a brain neurologist, anything, a boxer, an athlete, then he or she can, if they want to dedicate and work hard at it. I know in sports you've got to be naturally gifted, and a lot of people, they're not. So sporting isn't for everybody, but life isn't just about sports. There's all sorts of things, and everybody has his or her place in life. And I believe that in the end, everybody finds out where they should be and where they belong. And I believe that every experience that we have to have them for a reason, and that we're being tested to see what type of character we are on this earth. I know I'm going quite deep now, so I'm going to go back to the surface, talk about sports and stuff. Yeah, if I could change boxing, I'd eliminate all wrong decisions and stuff. I'd make it more fair, and if a fighter wins, he wins, and if he loses, he loses, regardless of who sold the tickets and who didn't, and who's the cash cow and who's not. Boxing is a modern day gladiatorial sport, and it should be the best man or woman wins, and that doesn't always happen in boxing, as we know.
The thing is, in boxing, it's an opinionated sport. So yeah. There's always going to be
mixed opinions.
Yes, but
it's not just that.
You're talking about the blatant.
Yeah, blatant robberies, and there's a lot of politics in boxing, and there's a lot of money. It's a lot about money as well. It's not for the love of the game. Because look how many great fights don't happen through promoters, managers, whoever. Fighters not wanting to do that, not risking this, not risking that. I think it's crazy really, the way that it all happens. And I hope that in the future I can be involved in some massive fights yet again, like for another time, versus like Joshua, Parker, even Dylan White, he's getting up there now, and Dominic Brazil, and the Big Baby Miller, big shout out Big Baby, Bronze Bomber. Who else is there? There's Andy Ruiz Jr. My cousin Yui, but obviously I don't want to fight him. There's loads of big fights out there, but they just need making, and the problem is that everyone doesn't want to do this and doesn't want to do that because they're frightened of losing, and it shouldn't be about that. They should just fight, that's it really. But then again, it is a business as well, and a lot of us, it's the only thing we know how to do, so we have to try and make a living out of it, which is what is hard to do. And if you're not on a super high level in boxing, it's very hard to earn a living just alone on that. And I've changed that too.
That's Fury talk for this morning.